Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Houston First Financial Group are not affiliated.
Welcome to Money Matters with Chris Hensley, where we spotlight financial literacy issues in the Houston community and beyond. And now your host, Chris Hensley.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters. I'm Chris Hensley. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. We have with us Elona Lopari. And Elona, first of all, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to share a little bit about you with listeners to get to know you a little bit better there. You are an executive leadership and career coach. You've deeply committed to empowering women to become leaders in their own lives and challenge cultural norms. She is celebrated as a best-selling author, hosting the Life School Masterclass Podcast and serving as the CEO of Elona Lopari Coaching Life School. And we're going to make sure to put that in the podcast notes as far as the website and everything as well, so listeners can find you there. Your career has spanned over 2 decades as a Fortune 500 corporate executive, where you gained extensive experience in both business-to-business sales. Your literary contributions include books like Connecting the Dot Backwards, Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurship. Elona, welcome so much to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for sharing that beautiful journey there.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into it, because I like the background that you have with working with all of these companies before kind of, taking the brave step of launching off into your own venture, right? Tell me a little bit about your career evolution. Could you share that story of your transition from those Fortune 500 corporate executive role to becoming an influential career coach?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all in the journey, right? And I never would have thought I would be here, but I think we would stay open to the evolution, as you perfectly stated it. It kind of leads us to our vocation, to the thing that we want to do in the world, and to the way that we want to create impact. So that was my story. I'm natively Albanian, moved to the U.S. when I was 15. Seen a lot of struggles from my parents. The oldest child started working at 15. So very early on, I was injected with the American dream, with you get a college degree, be successful in your career. So I did all of that. And there came a time, 15 years, I climbed the corporate ladder in the retail environment. It happens to be that the company I was working for was in growth mode. So that helped really helped me also to learn and grow within that environment. So I did various roles for them, from HR to marketing to sales. My latest one was a regional director. But however, every journey does come to an end. The company was bought by another company, and the culture turned very profit-driven, meaning I no longer saw a future. There was no more growth opportunities that I was used to. And also I could see how very fast a culture that was pretty healthy for many years could turn into a toxic environment. And that's where I started looking around and looking at other opportunities. I did consider, maybe moving to another company, but then it felt like been there, done that. So this journey of entrepreneurship was something that my husband was an entrepreneur for many years in the construction contracting industry. So he was actually the first one to give me that nudge and say, well, listen, you have a lot of experience. Why don't you just go off on your own and just help people based on sort of what you learned so far in all the 15 years. So that's what I did. I started executive coaching with women leaders, and then I moved on to career coaching. But I think you don't have the rest of the pieces of the evolution. Now I work with purpose-driven entrepreneurs and corporations, which I've gone back on my own terms, that are really using the channel of entrepreneurship to pretty much do what I did in my journey, build a purpose-driven company, something that, first of all, gives you a lot of meaning, is creating impact out there in the world, and is helping you align your purpose with your profits. So that is my day-to-day work that I do today, through the continuation and the process of now being an entrepreneur for 5 years.
I love it. I love it. Purpose-driven companies, that's a huge thing. We've talked many over the past 10 years that the radio, that the podcast has been on the air. We've done a lot of shows about values-driven companies, corporate responsibility, and that sort of thing. You shared with us, the struggle as an immigrant. I'm here in Houston. We have many immigrants here in Houston, and so a lot of people can relate to the struggle of getting into the U.S. And you talked about the American dream, and then kind of seeing things working, kind of unfolding. You were working since you were 15. And then the company, fast forward until you're working for this corporation, and then they were bought out by a bigger company that, where you could see the culture climate change, where it could possibly be profit driven, that wouldn't necessarily be in a positive way, right? A lot of times people, that's one of the things we don't have control over, is if a company comes in and gets bought out through mergers and acquisition and does layoffs and that sort of thing, that might be when somebody raises their hand and said, okay, I need a career coach to retool and start looking, right? Let's shift just a little bit, because one of the areas that you focused on is women's empowerment. In your coaching, you emphasize empowering women. What challenges do you think are unique to women in leadership, and how do you address these in your coaching?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely ventured out to also my male counterparts, as I like to say. The society is made up of both, and I think we complement each other very, very well. And but specifically, women leaders is the self-belief, right? The juggling of too many things and too many responsibilities in life, defining ourselves from our roles rather than what we're actually capable of doing. Not even having a lot of opportunities to even kind of test ourselves and challenge ourselves for various roles, so that we could see our potential, so we can understand how to learn and grow and develop our skills and all of that. I think definitely this has changed in today's world, so that's the good news. I think a lot more women are choosing entrepreneurship actually as that vocation to create a life on their own terms, be there for their most important relationships, but also be able to learn and grow all in a virtual environment. So I think we definitely have changed, our circumstances and the way that we're actually doing our work out there. But I would say some of those mindset, imposter syndrome, a lot of self-belief, things that hold us back, or just, overall, kind of understanding that we have a lot of value. And I've noticed one common thread with a lot of women that I worked over the years, including myself. It's been a journey, kind of valuing our time, valuing our services, valuing what we bring to the table, rather than devaluing it or thinking that a gift or something that we do naturally, can be something that we can charge for, and someone else can actually get an amazing transformation from. Because a lot of the times, if we do something naturally because we're nurturers, we just take it for granted and like, well, and now everybody must do this, right? So I would say some of those things is what I've seen in my journey.
I love it. I love it. So those are very powerful things that you spoke about for people who are, any of these things, the self-belief, juggling, time commitments, and making sure that you're able to accomplish everything that you're trying to do. Even just for women, even just having a fair playing field, right? The opportunities that you mentioned, just having access to all the opportunities that they should have, learning and growing. You talked about the change with the virtual environment that we all live in post-COVID, right? Post-pandemic, we're all having to make some transitions there. And then just really valuing your time on this journey. If you are a natural nurturer, I mean, I kind of fall into this a little bit. I like to help people so much that sometimes you end up giving stuff away, right? So really, what you spoke about was finding value in the things that we do. You talked about imposter syndrome. These are all really, really important things for people who are, using your coaching services that are going to be either currently in a leadership role or will be in the future. Let's pivot one more time. We're going to talk about authorship here. Your book, Connecting the Dots Backwards, it offers intriguing perspectives. Can you share a key insight or lesson from the book that has been particularly impactful for your readers?
Yeah, that was actually my first book, and it was in the attempt to pretty much share my life journey and experience, sort of like a memoir, expertise sort of book, and I kind of combine it into both. But it's really the main takeaway of the book is really helping people clarify their life vision, kind of discover their values, figure out what's important to them in their phase and stage of life growth, and really kind of connecting those dots towards their purpose, meaning that looking backwards in their journey, in their personal life from childhood all the way on to where they are now, and then of course envisioning for what they want to achieve in the future, and really paying very close attention reflectively to a lot of the meaningful moments or situations in our lives that have maybe we thought were there, just by circumstance or whatever, you might think, but they were very intentional in the way that we actually are in the work that we're actually doing. I've shared one of my personal stories, how even when I was very little, 13 years old, I put together, shows in my neighborhood, and I always wanted to get people together around me and kind of connect with each other and, entertain and educate and inspire people. And that's crazy how I pretty much am doing the same work that I did then now. So I always encourage people to kind of pay attention to those things that attract you or those things that you admire, because there's a very high likelihood that those are talents or untapped gifts that are already sitting inside of you, and in you realizing your potential. Those are all things that you can tap into eventually to also combine them with the way that you grow your business, or the way that where you put your time intentionally and how you align your purpose with your profit.
I love it. I love it. So I'm picturing you as a teenager putting together these shows in the neighborhood. That's awesome. One of the things you talk about in the book is, sharing your story and your purpose and clarifying your life vision. This can be very difficult for people. So I'm intrigued and I might go read that, because even finding those stories, those moments in life that you talked about, your talents, natural talents that are there, these may be kind of milestones that you're not even touching on. And so what a great way to come at that. Let's talk about your podcast, because I know that you have the Life School Masterclass Podcast. As the host of that, what have been some of the most rewarding aspects of this venture?
Yeah, it's how I actually started in this journey, by listening to other podcasts. So it definitely, podcasting holds a near and dear, way or channel to kind of learn and have different voices, or look up at, get acquainted or connected to other people in their life journeys. So I fell in love with podcasting very early on, and in my show, as the show has grown and evolved, I find that every show is its own masterclass, which is why I named it the Life School Masterclass Show, because, even when I'm doing a solo episode and sharing my knowledge and expertise or experience, or even when I bring in amazing, successful, heart-driven CEOs, purpose-driven leaders on the show, there's always something to learn. And I always find that the whole coaching industry is built on mentorship. It's built on learning from other people's experiences, and also surrounding yourself with people that are playing a bigger, game in the world, and they're creating impact. And just the fact that I get to speak to so many guests on there, and they get to share their expertise around the different topics that interest the audience. I'm always learning and growing and taking notes. So it's just been that channel that, it's how I get to share the message with the world, but most importantly, how I get to bring in other people in my community to really add value and service to our audience. So yeah, that's what, in a nutshell, the Life School Masterclass Show is all about.
I love it. I love it. You said how I share with the world. That's a great way to look at it. And this was one of the channels that kind of got you started. You fell in love with it early on. Now, how you talk about that, I'm very passionate about my show as well. So when I talk about the podcast, it's almost like talking about my baby, right? So I can see that in you as well. And every show that you do is a master class. And you also talked about mentorship, and we all have those people in our lives that they may not have that title of mentor, but they played that role, right? We've seen them guide us through our journey, careers or personal lives, and they've been kind of blazing the path before we get there. And we're honest enough to ask for the help, and these people are mentors. And so this is a fantastic, if that's something you're interested in, check out the podcast, Life School Masterclass Podcast. I wanted to get back to the coaching, though. How would you describe your unique approach to coaching, and what do you believe sets your methodology apart from others in the field?
Yeah, I love that question because even just through my journey of realizing that I'm very strong in business and I have very high business acumen, not only from my inner gifts, but also from my experience, it's really bringing together a few of the most fundamental pieces or pillars in business, which is your branding, marketing, sales, systems, and teams. And all of those are pillars and they're fundamentals. And especially when you build a business from startup all the way to, however big you want to grow it, there's always, you want to ensure that those fundamentals, the bricks are in the right order, so that you can build as a big company, as big as you'd like it based on your vocation, your vision, mission, and also in the impact you get to create with the world. And that's what I've done. I've always been very good at connecting the right important dots in business and life. So I've done the same with my work and now helped so many clients do the same, but really meeting them where they are and helping them implement a lot of those different foundations in the business, and while helping them solve the two main problems that usually businesses face, which is lack of consistent cash flow and sales, and also lack of scalability, not knowing operationally, what are the right things to focus on to get to the next level. So as you get to the next level, usually you want to include more of the systems and teams. And that's what I help businesses do. So I meet them where they are, personalize a lot of these different focuses and pillars around, where they are, and help them grow very healthy, sustainable legacy businesses that are going to not only become the vocation of the work they do, but also they do more good in the world, because a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, or even myself, we have our foundations and we like to create jobs for people, and we like to help clients get massive transformations. So we believe in the service aspect of why we do what we do. So that's why I stayed in the service industry. I love this industry because that's, for me, it's like that's how we get to create impact for others. So yeah, that is my unique methodology that I perfected over the years.
I love it. I love it. So you said a whole bunch in a short amount of time. So I'm going to try to unpack that there, because this is very strong information for entrepreneurs, for really anybody, but specifically if you're a business owner. The four things that you led with, I want to make sure I got it right here: branding, marketing, sales system, and was it teams, the last one? Or technology? Teams.
So it's marketing. So it's branding, marketing, sales, systems, and then teams.
Sales, systems, and teams. So each one, you could do a whole show just on each one of those. Those are very big things that if you don't get right, it's not going to work, right? Or you're going to have a bad time. You talked about also the two big problems that entrepreneurs have, and that's cash flow and sales, right? Not having the revenue coming in, and then scaling. So let's say you have the revenue coming in, but you don't know how to make it repeatable, that you might get burnt out or have a bad system in place. So this is This is a really good skeleton for a successful entrepreneur or successful business owner. That's great. That's a really good actionable tips for listeners here. Let's talk about cultural influence on leadership. You've spoken about challenging cultural expectations. How do you think cultural norms and backgrounds influence individuals in their professional journeys, especially women?
Yeah, I think culture is everything, because it's just like anything. We are the product of our environments as humans, right? So whether we're in our company culture or we're on our family culture or just culture, social culture overall, I think it's important to understand that, if we are aligned with a culture that is appreciative, that is open-minded, that is embracing diversity, that is ensuring that it appreciates everybody's feedback and also contribution, then of course I would say that that's a culture where you find support, you find tools, you find resources, and you always get to learn and grow and contribute. Because I realized even from my HR career, for over 7 years, that the two main fundamentals of what humans all want in any company is to learn and grow, and also to contribute to something that's meaningful to them. So those two things are going to keep them going, retained for a long, long time. And always two of the main problems with cultures and companies, because I also work with corporations that are purpose-driven, is those two main things, right? How do we attract the right talent, and how do we retain them, so that the company can grow? But I would say, yeah, that's the pieces of a good, healthy culture that I've seen are the most fundamental, and also the leading by example from the leader, right? And we mentioned women, giving everybody equal opportunity. I think we all understand that this is so very important, and leveraging everyone's talents and gifts. This was one of the things that I've done really well in my corporate career, which helped me expand my region very fast, actually, when I was a regional director, is kind of identifying the right talents and aligning and structuring people with the right roles and responsibilities, that they thrived and they, again, felt like they were contributing, and they could utilize their strengths and skills, and also grow, of course, because I think as humans, we don't want to, it's not enough to just pray, to want to ask for praise. We want to grow. So there's areas where we can grow, kind of aligning both of those two things. It is the key to successful, sustainable culture, for sure. And leaders that understand that, and are conscious leaders, and always learning and growing and raising their awareness as leaders, so that they can create those effective, intuitive environments for their teams, are always going to be the leaders that go further, faster, and are going to be able to innovate and withhold technology advancements or competition or anything like that might be an outside circumstance to their company, either scaling or staying the same. And eventually we all know that we can't stay in the same spot. Otherwise,
very true. Very true. So, again, this is a lot of stuff that's very important for, you mentioned corporations, just that corporate culture, but also for entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, even a team of two, right? When it comes down to, if you attract talent, so you're recruiting, you're hiring people, how do you keep them, right? That's the one piece is getting the talent, and then keeping them. So that's important. People, growing your people, right? Leading by example, being a conscious leader, being open-minded, having diversity, and really embracing diversity within your company. These are all key when it comes to cultural influence on leadership. So we're bumping towards the end of the show. We got about 6 minutes left here. I'd like you to share a success story that you've had in your role as executive coach. You've helped numerous business owners achieve success. Could you share a particularly memorable success story that exemplifies your impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So I helped the CEO. One of my clients was building her career coaching business, and she wasn't necessarily sure where to start. She had some traction with some of the strategies that she was trying online. However, she was not very clear on their messaging, her target audience, and even the business model. I find that a business model that is selected based on the goals that someone has for their personal lives and their business income revenue generation aspect is very important as well. There's a big gap online because it's so easy to kind of compare business models to one another. Well, somebody is doing courses, so let's just do that, or memberships, or this or that, right? And I always say that understanding what is the right container for the viable transformation you want to give and pricing accordingly is, where you want to focus. So we work together on a lot of that clarity on the messaging, and also utilizing these new channels, whether it's podcasting or book writing or growing, her audience, and also understanding how to nurture these relationships, how to build her brand, build her company, and build the know, like, and trust, which is so important in every relationship. And very, very quickly, she landed a few major speaking opportunities based on the work that she was doing, and also started serving clients in her business. So she tripled her business within
Wow.
3-month time frame that we were working together. And all it took is just clarifying and connecting some dots very quickly and focusing her on the right activities that are going to be income producing for her business. And those are the results. And she continues to evolve and grow the business from there.
That's fantastic. So triple the business, and really, the things that you mentioned, clarifying their vision, these things are, when you're the person that's in the weeds doing these things, it's often hard to see it, right? But to have a second set of eyes and somebody who shows you, what kind of outlines what you need to do, and then puts you laser focused into those actions. And then you mentioned right away she got a bunch of speaking engagements, is really kind of magical, right? How if you do these activities, other things that you don't even expect just kind of bubble up. It's kind of like happy accidents, right? So getting these speaking engagements and then tripling her revenue in the first 3 months after this, and triple revenue, that's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about, in the few minutes that we have left here, you also do speaking engagements. As a seasoned keynote speaker, what message do you most hope to impart to your audience?
So my main message is around how to build a legacy purpose-driven company, and I speak about those 6 pillars that, yes, it could have been a show on its own, and that's something that when I share them, most people do think that, but once you understand how to connect all these things in your business, then it becomes like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's all things that feed off one another, right? They're not separately. It's just like when you exercise, when you want to lose weight, you want to look at your eating habits, your exercise habits, right? All these different things. So it's the same for businesses. There is a process to growing any business. So my main, most popular topic that I speak about in stages is that one, and then purpose-driven leadership. So I also speak about the 7 pillars to become a purpose-driven leader, to align your purpose and your profit as well. So those are the main 2. And then occasionally I'll speak about purpose, regarding purpose, how to align your purpose personally and professionally as well.
I love it. And I'm jotting those down, the 6 pillars, the purpose-driven leadership. These are, so if you are an HR manager and you're trying to teach these soft skills, not just to the employees, but also up chain to the leadership, right? Because a lot of times they're analytics and they're lacking in the soft skills, right? Listen up, because this is what you need here. So if they wanted to get you for a speaking engagement, how would somebody reach out to you?
Yeah, I have my speaking page on my website, elonaloparicoaching.com. And in addition to my speaking page, I also have a few other resources for people that are free. There's a free masterclass and also a free PDF of a marketing checklist that they can upload depending on where they are in their phase of stage of business. But yeah, they can check out the website, elonaloparicoaching.com.
Fantastic. So if you're driving right now, you don't have to stop the car. We're going to have this in the podcast notes. You'll have a link to her website as well. That was the quickest half hour ever. So as we're right here at the end, Elona, is there anything that I forgot to ask you that you'd like to share with the listeners?
No, I think you covered it pretty thoroughly. I think, hopefully what I shared definitely was of service to the audience, but a final message for the audience is to always learn and grow, always keep evolving as the CEO or the entrepreneur in your business, because again, this is the way that the channel that we all have used or kind of picked to be fulfilled in life. I think at the end of the day, that's what I was looking for many years ago, finding that fulfillment, because success on the outside, just based on sort of what we have learned, it's not sustainable. So we all go within, and once you do the inner work and you evolve and grow as a leader, the results that you are able to create on the outside and the impact you get to create kind of jumps you out of, from your bed in the morning. There's no need for alarm clocks anymore. Your purpose is calling you. So you just keep going. And I think the world needs more people that are happy and fulfilled and believe in the work that they're doing, and they're getting up every day. And despite challenges that they face, their vocation, their purpose is bigger than the challenges that they face. And I really believe these are the people that are going to change the world and create evolution and create meaningful impact for all
I
of us.
love it. I love it. What a great place to leave us with. Wake up, keep going, don't stop, keep going there. Elona, thanks so much for being on the show today. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.